Michelle DePila, and I'm with Cappuccino High School. I'm here alongside my colleague from Aragon High. Mary, are you there?
Hi, Michelle. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us on this evening. So happy you guys are here.
We're also so excited to be joined by our college partners. Tonight from California State University Stanislaus, Selena Hernandez from the admissions office is joining us, alongside McKenna Perez from the financial aid office. And from the University of Arizona, John Leaner, based in San Francisco and with admissions and new student enrollment. Tonight, we will be guiding you through understanding the very important part of money, your college aid, also called your financial aid award. This presentation will be primarily designed to understand reading your financial aid award letters from four-year universities. However, if you are considering community college, this presentation will be as beneficial. We remind everyone in this webinar that your College and Career Center is here to support you through this process, and we encourage you to come and visit us after this workshop. So, without further ado, we would love to go ahead and pass the microphone over to our first presenters, Stanislaus State, also called Stan State for short. We're now ready to move on to your slides. Thank you in advance.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Lena Hernandez. I am one of the admissions counselors for Stanislaus State. And so today we're going to talk about Stanislaus State and where we're at and what we have to offer. So Stanislaus State, we're located in the heart of the Central Valley. We're located in Turlock, California, which is about a 2-hour drive away from where you are currently located at. We are a smaller California State University in which we have less than 10,000 students. The majority of our students are first generation, meaning that they're the first in their family to go towards a four-year degree here in the US. We do have a smaller faculty to or student to faculty ratio, about 17 students to one professor. So that just means it's going to be a more smaller type of classroom environment. We have to offer 47 undergrad degree programs. This is just a visual representation of our campus in which what we see here is the heart of the University Student Center. It's one of my favorite buildings because they have delicious food there. So they have there your American style foods, your poke bowl sushi, your also to the full service Starbucks and the all you can eat buffet. We also do have there the university student body who do a Warrior Wednesday, in which that's where we celebrate our Spirit Day. And right here, where you see is our mascot. His name is Titus the Warrior, and in Spanish is Tito el Guerrero. So at our university, we do offer campus housing. It is all inclusive, which includes all utilities, and it's fully furnished. So no need to haul your bed all the way from San Mateo County all the way to the university. We already have everything fully furnished for you. And I'm going to go ahead and play a video that shows an example of what our apartment style living looks like at Stan State.
Student dorm here at Stan State. Village 1 Suite Side. This is a suite style, which means it comes with a mini fridge and microwave. Has super cute living room. The dorms come fully furnished and you can decorate them however you want. To view the room. You can rearrange your furniture to fit more space.
And that's just an example of one of the floor plans that we have to offer. So we do have a variety of selection, and we're currently accepting housing applications for incoming students. And so here is something that you can take a picture of. That way you can learn more about the different types of floor plans and also to the payment options for housing. And we also do offer this as a virtual tour in case if you are interested in looking into that. We are going to have the traditional style housing coming up soon in fall 2027. That is what you see in the movies, the residential hall experience. And to get to STAM State, you just simply need to have your A through G requirements completed with a C minus or better, have a 2.5 GPA, and be on track to graduate high school. And for the students that have applied and have been admitted, congratulations. The next step is to attend our Warrior Welcome, in which it is an admitted student day that we have upcoming this Saturday. And so we would love to see you all there, those that have been admitted, and feel free to bring whoever you'd like. That way we can go ahead and celebrate you and your accomplishment. If Stan State is the way to go, then the next step after attending that Warrior Welcome and graduating from high school is going to be your new student registration, which should be held in the month of June. And that is where we will assist you as far as like scheduling your fall schedule. And then in July, around July, we will have our new student orientation in which we're going to go ahead and go over everything you need to know for your first day of class. It is a $75 fee. However, that is not due that day. That is due after as well. And very important is for any students that are incoming, we do need official transcripts, not only from high school, but also too from any college courses and AP scores that you are wanting, that you have completed. And when students have been admitted, they're able to access their portal. So that is where we will have important information that we recommend, highly recommend for you to check on a regular basis, because in here you will have two areas to look into that I 1000% recommend for you to check on a regular basis is your student email. We will be communicating with you regarding anything we need directly to your email address that is in your student portal. That's your student email. Secondly is your Stan State Student Center, and this is where you will see your to-do list. You will be able to view your financial aid award letter once that becomes available, accept or decline your admission, and also to register for your new student registration, which we do have dates available in June. And this is my contact information. Should you any of you have any questions, I'm more than happy to schedule a meeting and go over any questions in detail with you. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to go ahead and pass this on over to my colleague, McKenna Perez.
Hello, everybody. I'm McKenna Perez. I am the outreach coordinator at the financial aid office here at Stan State. So today we're going to go over what financial aid looks like specifically at Stan State, as well as a little bit of an overview at the CSU system. As a sister school in the CSU system, we do have similar awards. So as you're getting your financial aid award letters from, let's say, Fresno State, Sac State, those other schools, it may be similar to what you see at your Stan State award letter. So here at the CSU system, we have four types of financial aid. This is going to be grant funds and scholarships. These two are free money that students do not need to pay back. It's based on eligibility, and specifically for scholarships, that is funding that students do apply for. The next is going to be federal student loans. These do have a repayment period after the student graduates or they cease half-time enrollment. And then there is federal work study as well. That's the on-campus jobs on campus, and students are paid as they work on an hourly basis. As far as Stan State goes, we do issue an award letter once a student has been packaged. These are some screenshots. In just a moment, I'll go ahead and I'll show what the actual award letter looks like. This is going to be sent directly to your CSU Stan email. It will not be sent to a personal email. This will be sent to your CSU Stan email. So once you have been admitted, you will want to make sure that you are checking that pretty frequently. Give me just a moment. Let me switch over to... Can you guys see the screen? Yes. All right. So in your email, it is listed as test, but it would be tailored towards you. Once you open up your offer letter, you'll be able to see this page. This will have some encompassing information about your financial aid award letter, as well as the direct and indirect costs for our school. So in the first section here, we have the cost of attendance. The direct cost is going to be the actual cost for a full-time student. So this is what the tuition and university fees are. There's a section for housing if you do plan to stay in our housing on campus. But as far as direct costs, this is what students were charged for this school year. It will be updated with the 2026-2027 costs as well. In the indirect costs, this is going to be an average of what you can expect based on what you put on your application. This particular student put that they are going to be living with their parents. So based on them living with their parents, this is going to be the average cost per semester, as well as the total for the whole academic year. These charges here, students are not charged these automatically. This is just, again, an average of what we can expect a student to be able to budget for. And then as we go down to the financial aid award section, this is going to show what aid is available to the student at our institution. So for this particular student, over the course of the school year, their grants and scholarships, they're listed here. And then their eligibility for their loans are listed here as well. And in order for a student to receive their aid, so let's say they are ready to make that commitment to Stan State, students are able to click to accept their awards, view the terms and conditions of the specific awards, sign up for direct deposit, all that good stuff. Students are also able to click into these other pages as well if they have questions, if they're trying to appeal for additional aid, and then again, terms and conditions, maintaining eligibility, and then again, campus resources as well. This is what the award letter itself looks like. Now, once a student, let me get back in here. Once a student has already looked over their award letter, they're ready to kind of get into the nitty-gritty at Stan State. They can access their portal via the website. If they just type in csustan.edu, up at the top, they could log into their portal. Into their dashboard, this little section here for their student center is going to bring them in to what will be the encompassing information and the snapshot of their academics, their finances, any holds and to-do list items that they may have. As far as financial aid goes, the most important sections are going to be the finances section here in this green box, as well as the yellow. If there is anything outstanding for a student to do in order to receive their financial aid, if we're missing any transcripts, there's any additional paperwork that needs to be handled, it will be listed in these sections here. Reviewing your aid offer, again, you can do it from the email itself. It'll list everything out really nice and pretty. But let's say maybe you delete it or you just want to, view it directly from your portal. You can. In that finances section, there is the view financial aid button, and that's going to bring you to this section here. We'll go deeper into it and, have a little bit of a better view. But essentially, there is a breakdown of the whole academic year and then each term. So in order to accept your financial aid awards, the grants and scholarships are accepted automatically once the students meet the eligibility requirements. Work study and loans do have to be accepted manually by the student since they come with some conditions. For work study, the student, once they accept, will need to secure an on-campus job in order to start working for that hourly wage. And loans will not disperse until the student completes their master promissory note, which is the contract essentially saying that they are committed to repaying the loans back once they graduate, and then their entrance counseling. Their entrance counseling explains what a loan is, what the repayment looks like, if a student needs any help with their loans or any type of payment plan. That's what the entrance counseling is. Shortly after a student accepts their loans, these two items will be placed on their to-do list. So in their portal, it'll be an outstanding item. They can click on it and complete. So actually getting in and accepting the award in the finances section under financial aid is the accept decline awards. A student will then click on the academic year for 26-27. It's listed as 2027. And then they will go ahead and choose the award that they are wanting to accept. In this case, the student wants to accept their loan and they're putting in that full amount. Students do not need to accept the full amount of their loans. They can do up to however much they'd like, up to that maximum. Now, some examples just of what a financial aid award letter would look like. This is a freshman that has a SAI of negative 1,500. Negative 1,500 is the lowest SAI possible. And the student does have a good chunk of aid. They have the federal Pell Grant, they have the Cal Grant, they have an estimated middle class scholarship, and then they do have some loan options. So we get this encompassing picture for the whole entire school year, and then we get a breakdown for each term of what is available. Now, we package students up to their cost of attendance. So this particular student has a cost of attendance. Now, the cost of attendance is the direct cost, so how much their tuition is, plus their estimated costs for housing, transportation, those averages. And the student has an accepted amount of their grant funds. For this particular student, they haven't yet decided on a school, so the Cal Grant is offered. Once the student does decide on their school, then that school will be able to move those funds over and the Cal Grant will be accepted at that point. This is going to be a freshman kind of on the other end of the spectrum, so having a higher SAI of about 1,200. And again, this is going to be having a Cal Grant that will be moved over once the student decides on their school. They have an estimated middle class scholarship and they do have some loan options. This is going to be up to their cost of attendance. And then this section is going to be how much aid they have accepted. Again, the whole school year, and then it's split up into terms. So at Stan State in particular, your financial aid will cover your balance that you have with the school. This is going to be your tuition. If you do decide to live on campus, this is going to be your housing charges. If you have any lab fees, that will go ahead and cover that balance first. And then any remaining financial aid is what would be paid out to the student. So in the Student Center, in the account inquiry, students are able to check out this screen here, which gives them an example. It tells them the exact amount that they owe for that particular term and how much financial aid that they are getting. This particular student owes less than how much financial aid they're getting, so there's nothing for them to pay out of pocket, and they will be getting a refund. Additionally, just to know, financial aid does have limits, so you will want to take that into account when you're deciding your school. For the federal Pell Grant, there's 12 full-time semesters, the equivalent of 6 years. For the state university grant, there's 150 earned units or 75 units if you transfer into Stan State. This is the equivalent of about 4 to 5 years, depending on how many units you take a semester. And then the Cal Grants and the middle class scholarships have a lifetime of 4 years, or if you transfer into Stan State, 2 years. And then this is going to be our contact information for the financial aid office at Stan State. If you have specific questions or if you want to walk through your financial aid award letter, we are available in a plethora of ways. We're in person. We have a chat feature that our staff man. We do Zoom appointments as well, over the phone, through email. And then these are going to be our hours and our contact information. All right. And that's going to be the end for me. You can go ahead and pass it over now.
Incredible. That was fantastic. Thank you, Selena and McKenna. So I'm going to bring up the question that came up in the Q&A. The first question was regarding community college. And the question was, will community college also send an award letter similar to a 4-year? It is going to look a little different at community college. So the sample that we saw today was an excellent way to see how do you actually see your financial aid award. Stan State walked us through the portal, and you were able to see the actual financial aid award. That is not going to happen at community college. However, if you are eligible for a Cal Grant, if you are eligible for a Pell Grant, those grants are available at community college. They are available at a different amount. And we encourage you to reach out to the community college financial aid office you plan to apply to, or also visit the College and Career Center to discuss what those amounts are at community college. They are going to be lower than a 4-year. And one thing that I also want to highlight from McKenna's presentation, especially for those of you planning to start at community college, are those term limits. So it is very important to work closely with your financial aid office at any university, but especially if you're transferring from community college to a 4-year. I'd like to open up to the next question for Stan State. And I think, McKenna, this one's going to be perfect for you. Can you explain the SAI and how that number is determined?
Yes, so the SAI is the Student Aid Index. This is essentially a holistic number that is generated through the financial aid application, whether a student had filed a FAFSA or a CADA. The CADA is also known as the California Dream Act. So using the financial information in a student's household, that is going to include the student's information if they did work during the prior year. So for this upcoming round, this would be during 2024 if they worked and filed taxes, as well as the parent information as well. So that's going to include their financial information. Using that information, the FAFSA or the CADA, depending on which application you decided to fill out, they come up with a student aid index number that is similar to an expected family contribution. That is how we are able as aid administrators to find out what awards you are eligible specifically. So each award, whether this is going to be the Pell Grant, any of the types of Cal Grants, other scholarships such as the middle class scholarship, they do have limits. They go depending on the award specifically. If your student aid index falls within that threshold and you meet the eligibility requirements, you filed your FAFSA on time, then you would be eligible for those awards. So using that number that you have, aid administrators can match you with awards that have similar SAI thresholds.
Fantastic. Thank you, McKenna. So our next question, I think, is going to be a perfect fit for John from the University of Arizona. So before I pass the mic over to you, John, I would like to read the question out loud just to allow Stan State an opportunity to reply to this if you would like. Otherwise, we will hold on to the question for John. The question is as follows. Can you explain the difference between merit awards and scholarships? Is a merit award dependent on income? And do you need to fill out the FAFSA to receive a merit award? Stan State, would you like to answer that question, or should we wait to transition that question over to the Q&A after the University of Arizona?
I'll answer a little bit. So at our institution at Stan State, it depends on the scholarship itself. Some merit scholarships take into account a student's need as well. So how we determine need is a student would need to file a FAFSA or a CADA application. That's how we assess the financial strength of the household. And then from merit from there, it's typically based on either a GPA, specific grades in specific courses. This could be community service. It will depend on the award specifically, what we're measuring. But as far as on an institutional level, though it could be based on need as well, and then we would need to file a FAFSA. There are some merit scholarships where a FAFSA or CADA does not need to be completed, and it's just based purely on what scale we're measuring it on, whether, again, that's grades, GPA, specific courses, community service. So I guess the real answer is it depends on the scholarship specifically. Usually those terms are listed when a student applies.
Fantastic. And Selena and McKenna, will you both be at the Admit Day that you announced, Selena, earlier today?
Yes.
Yes, I'll be there as well.
Okay, fantastic. I really want to encourage students and families to attend Admit Days. They are incredible opportunities, and a lot of work is put in by each university to make it very successful for the student. So on that note, Stan State, if you can be on standby, we may have some questions for you at the very end. We're ready to now transition to the University of Arizona, and John Leaner also representing RAC, and he'll tell you a little bit more about his agency, RAC, and the University of Arizona. All yours.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for joining this evening. My name is John Leiner. I'm the Regional Manager of California Admission for the University of Arizona. That is based in Tucson. And if you don't know, one little fact about Tucson is that it has 5 distinct seasons, and it is a very green part of Arizona. So I encourage you to do some more research. And if you have specific questions about Arizona, I'm happy to engage with you individually. Tonight's presentation is about aid and affordability, and I want to share with you the perspective from the Regional Admission Counselors of California. The Regional Admission Counselors of California is a group of about 180 admission professionals from nearly 120 plus institutions. And we work with students and counselors throughout California to provide out-of-state options for you, both from an admission standpoint, but also from an aid and affordability standpoint. So tonight's presentation is on behalf of that entire group. We have a series of presentations that we share with California families throughout the course of the year. And this one hopefully will answer some of your questions about financial aid. As you know, paying for college can be a challenge. And we share in our presentation that many students' parents will be funding it through their income and savings. And an important part of the overall process to affordability is students receiving scholarships and grants. I'll talk a bit about the different ways that college can be afforded and how that is viewed. As McKenna and Lena mentioned, we have total cost of attendance, and then there's a student aid index that is generated. And one of the questions that was asked was about how does that number get generated? And usually it's through the FAFSA. We look at all of your information that you've submitted, former tax returns, current income, and also net assets. And from there is an SAI, a student aid index, that is generated and matched against the cost of attendance. The second question that was asked was about the different types of aid, merit and need. And need-based aid is based on your demonstrated need. So most of your grants and scholarships, loans, and work study will come from this. And then merit-based aid, I can speak on behalf of many of the institutions that are part of RAC, including the University of Arizona. At the time that we read your application, we make a determination if you qualify for merit-based aid. And when we release the admission decision, we also share with you what that merit-based aid is. Otherwise, most colleges and universities within RAC will read need blind. So we will be making an admission decision that's not based on your ability to pay, but based on the merit and academic background and other holistic aspects of a file review. One important part of aid for students in terms of the cost is a tuition discount like WUI, the Western Undergraduate Exchange. So in many cases, while nearly 65% of students on average are accepted at universities and colleges outside of California, we also have arranged in the Western states, some of the universities will offer the Western Undergraduate Exchange, which is the cost of a UC and a half. So the cost of a UC plus a half of that cost versus if you take Arizona, for example, it's about 67,000 US dollars all in. And so to be able to reduce that cost down to a WUI cost is excellent for a student that's interested in going out of state. I do need to pause. I don't want you to think Arizona, for all of its 150 majors, is WUI. We only are for mining engineering, hydrology, and for natural resources. So if you're interested in those majors, you will receive the WUI cost. Unlike many of my other peer institutions on the West Coast, like the University of Utah, the University of Nevada, Reno, as long as you have a particular GPA, you qualify for WUI and also additional tuition discounts and scholarships based on the major. This gives simple information about the type of aid for gift aid versus loans, and you'll see what you do not have to pay back and what you do have to pay back. And then somewhere in between, to fill a gap, a student may decide to do work study, and that's other income that can go toward the cost. As I mentioned earlier, applying for aid, you would complete the FAFSA. If you're a student that is a senior, you've already done this more than likely. The deadline, I believe, has passed. And then for those juniors and below, this is something that you would work toward to submit. Additionally, there's the College Scholarship Service profile. It is an application that is provided by the College Board and also is used to assess student financial need and the distribution of funds. Institutions will determine which it uses to provide that estimated cost of attendance, that estimated family contribution is what we call it. Here's a little example that I'd like to give. It's basically, if you take the total cost of attendance at a university, we're including everything, including the books, the supplies, the expenses, transportation, and there was grant and scholarship money that was offered and does not need to be repaid, let's say at 17,000, then the total amount or the estimated family contribution would be about 27,000 in this case. You would then be utilizing aspects of loans, maybe work study, income to cover that cost. Here's some examples of scholarships from universities. Each university has a different scholarship process. If I were to give the University of Arizona as an example, we use Scholarship Universe. After students have been admitted and they receive their net ID, you have the opportunity to log into the university's financial aid page and apply for scholarships as an out-of-state student based on your major, where you're coming from, and also particular interests. And so those are criteria based and they are competitive, but they're offered. And many of the RAC affiliated colleges and universities offer scholarships like this. Military scholarships, it's quite popular, ROTC. Many of our schools or colleges and universities will offer a type of veteran affairs benefit, either for a student who's interested currently in ROTC or is affiliated with veterans in the family for VA benefits and student loan benefits. So there are military scholarships that are available as well. And then other scholarship opportunities. You should always look within your community and also at the high schools to see what could be available to you through clubs and organizations, religious affiliations, and any professional associations. Here's some database websites. You may want to screenshot those. And in summary, I would like to just be able to share, it's important if you look at it as a stepped process to identify the total cost of attendance first is always important. Understand what the direct costs are versus the indirect and variable costs. Focus on the free money, the gift aid, and try to maximize that because you do not need to pay that back. And then any self-help aid that you're able to give, whether that's working or paying back later through loans, and then understanding the net price. If you are a senior, you're already in the midst of this. And if you are a sophomore or junior and you're going to be going through the process, I think it's very important for you to open a spreadsheet, take a look at the different universities and colleges that you're interested in, figure out the total cost of attendance based on what the university is sharing at present day, and then try to work backward to come up with a net price to see what is within your means so that you're targeting the colleges and universities, A, that you can afford, and B, that you have the greatest likelihood and chance of matriculating and being an active student participant in the community. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. And I think, John, we already have some questions in our Q&A, so I'd love to go ahead and start off with the first one.
Okay.
If for some reason a family income dropped during the year and the student is still in school, will they be eligible to apply for scholarship? Or are scholarships only considered before the start of the year?
From my experience and understanding, if it's before you're enrolled as a freshman, we have the opportunity to revisit one's financial aid package. If it's once a student has been enrolled and there is an issue regarding eligibility for the scholarship, you could possibly or potentially from semester to semester, or at least be warned, and then you may lose that scholarship. You may also acquire scholarships along the way because you may qualify based on the year and based on your performance and based on your interests because you may find those scholarships later. I am not a financial aid professional that McKenna is, so I'm going to actually turn that to her to maybe answer the question in case I gave any misinformation.
No, that information is correct, but I would like to add once a student is enrolled and we're in the school year, there is a process called professional judgment. Some schools they call it financial aid appeal. But schools do have the opportunity to review a student's situation, and they may possibly be able to change some data elements in order to generate more eligibility for funding. Now, that is a what if scenario. Not every time can we generate additional aid, but
Mhm.
if you do experience an income reduction, or for another example, if there's a divorce in the family, so now we're only working with half of the income. If there's a death in the family, then you will want to reach out to the either the school that you're at now, or if, let's say this just recently happened and you're still going through the admission process, you'll want to reach out to those schools that you're considering, and they will have their own individual appeal for you to complete. Now, as far as the CSU system goes, we can look at those situations, but again, it's on a case by case basis. You will have to do the legwork to reach out to your financial aid office in order for them to review that. And then they'll work with you. They'll let you know what kind of information you need to provide, any kind of documents, and then best case scenario, they are able to help supplement the gap, and you do have additional eligibility.
Right. If anything changes in your financial picture and you believe that it is a material change, it's always helpful to be able to share that with the college or university's financial aid office. Usually merit prior to being enrolled is rarely adjusted, but you may qualify for other need-based aid based on the demonstrated need.
Fantastic. So we're ready then for the next question. Can you please go back to the page with all of the scholarship QR codes? We would love to screenshot that again. And there we go. There's the screenshot. And we hope everyone can see those QR codes. 3 incredible websites. Thank you so much for including those, John. I would like to take a second for you to take that screenshot and at this time also take the opportunity to bring up Naviance, which is our database available in our district, and every school in the district has the opportunity to actually go into Naviance and research. So I just want to leave those QR codes for one more minute and have you take pictures of that before we go into Naviance. Okay, I'm going to pause and I'm going to share my screen. And what we're going to do now is a guide on how you can search for scholarships on your school Naviance page. So I'm going to start at the Cappuccino main page. So you can start at your school's main page. And what you'll do next is click on Students and then click on Student Portal. And I know we're in the student portal, but families, you can also access this student portal. So we are all going to go in together and click on Naviance, and that's for you as a student or you as a family member. And when we click on Naviance, we're going to go ahead and click on the guest mode. Oh, and my computer just froze. So we're not seeing Naviance, but you are allowed to go into guest mode and then actually research scholarships. So because we are not seeing this, I'm going to go back and click on our counseling page and then our college and career center page. And over on the left side, you'll see that we have scholarships listed. When you click on scholarships, there will be a guide that you can access, and this will guide you on how you can research scholarships on Naviance. We encourage you to research those QR codes, use those QR codes that we just saw, but also go into your student Naviance page. Why do we encourage you to do that? Because you will find in Naviance certain scholarships that are only open to SMUHSD students. So it is hyper local and also a huge advantage to you. You're going to have a better opportunity with that smaller net. So please, aside from researching those national scholarships, also take a look at some of our local scholarships with SMUHSD. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that Q&A one more time and see if we have any additional questions. We are doing fantastic on time. So if we have another question from the audience, we'd love to take it. Here we go. We have a question. Is Naviance available to community college students? Great question. Yes, there are going to be scholarships that you will find on Naviance that are open to you if you are planning on going to community college first. And you'll also find that as you research some of the websites that John mentioned, you will find scholarships that are also open to community college students. Fantastic. Thank you for that last question. Do we have any other questions from the audience? As we give it one more minute just to see if we have any questions, Selena, McKenna, and John, and Mary, if there's any other comments that you'd like to share with our group, now would be a great time.
Yes, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for the opportunity for us to present regarding Stanislaus State, and also to some hopefully helpful information as far as like what the process usually looks like for the CSU. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you, Selena. Thank you, McKenna. Thank you, John. And I mean, we really value your partnership. We know how many times you've come out to visit our campuses and talk to our students. So we're so thankful that you all are here. Mary, thank you for being the Zoom hostess. And we just want to thank all of you, students and families, for coming out tonight. And remember, please definitely feel free to go back to your college and career center. We're happy to walk through any award letters that you received as you're deciding what's your best path. And additionally, also really want to encourage you reach out to the schools that have admitted you. As you can see, all of our higher ed professionals are incredible and they welcome your questions. So please do not feel shy in reaching out to the universities that you have been admitted to. So on that note, we would I have a couple of more questions before we wrap up tonight. Fantastic. So we are, yes, we are recording. We are recording tonight. So how can you access the video? It will be posted in 1 week on your school website, and it will be listed on the College and Career Center website of your school. Just how I entered into the Cappuccino site and we saw the scholarship section, that's where you're going to find this recording. Okay, I see one more question. So, question on scholarships. So, so if I'm reading the question correctly, is can I delegate the scholarships? No. So the scholarships do need to be written and submitted by the student. So it's important for the student to do research first. And of course, there's always resources available. So some students may have a proofreader at home or refer to a teacher or a trusted person on campus for support. But ultimately, the scholarship is your work as the student. And we believe in you. So believe in yourself, write the best essay you can, get through those scholarship portals, and don't be intimidated by the process. Every year at each school, we're honoring students. I know at Cappuccino last year, we honored over 80 students that had won scholarships, and it was all their own work. So believe in yourself and keep working hard. On that note, thank you everyone for joining us. We are going to close out this workshop. And again, we hope that you'll find the recording of value as well. Thank you, everyone, and special thanks to our partners, Stan State, the University of Arizona, and RAC. Thank you, Selena McKenna and John. Bye, everyone.